People are really stepping back and starting to ask some of the larger political questions about the United States itself, about democracy and about power and about whether the Constitution and the systems around it are actually holding up. One of the biggest stories I've been trying to cover is Donald Trump and the Department of Justice and that $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. Let me break that down a bit. So, during Trump's first term, a contractor working for the IRS leaked more than 400,000 tax returns in the media. Based on that, Trump and his two oldest sons and the Trump organization itself sued the IRS for $10 billion. And there's a lot of things wrong with this case. The biggest issue being that Trump was essentially on both sides of it. Even the judge overseeing the case reportedly had real doubts about whether or not this was even a legal case, because if you're both the plaintiff and the defendant, there's not really a case there. Trump dropped that case. Suddenly, it was withdrawn, and they announced what they call a settlement agreement. But according to the judge, this wasn't an actual legal settlement because it wasn't a settlement of a court case. Instead, it was an agreement Trump came up with alongside his own appointees at the Department of Justice. And this is where things escalate because part of this agreement reportedly involved creating that $1.776 billion fund. And that number is significant. Obviously, we have 1776 referencing the Declaration of Independence and the founding of America. People a part of January 6th, though, reference that day being their 1776, including Lauren Bobart, who posted "Today is 1776" on her social media that morning. But I want to talk about the constitutional argument. The fund is illegal because this isn't how you raise money in America. The President of the United States cannot simply go to one of his appointees and say, "I'd like $2 billion, please." That's not how our system works. Congress raises revenue. The House of Representatives originates revenue bills, and that structure exists because of separation of powers and checks and balances. And the concern being raised here is that this agreement, it bypasses that system entirely. And the discussion needs to go even deeper than that because this wasn't framed as just one corrupt story or even one legal controversy. This is being framed as a much larger movement away from liberal democracy itself. And when I say liberal democracy, I'm not talking about Democrat versus Republican. I'm talking about the political philosophy built around protecting individuals, protecting rights, and really limiting concentrated power. The idea that government exists to protect freedoms, to regulate abuses of power, and to really preserve equal access to opportunity. There's too many MAGA loyalists trying to push this aside for white nationalism or theocracy or even a more centralized loyalist political movement like Trump's creating. And I think it's why there are so many Americans that feel this deep tension right now. Underneath all of these stories is fear. The guardrails themselves are weakening, and the rules of the system are changing in real time. I'm going to continue following these stories and more, breaking them down. Please like, subscribe, and follow me for more.